Yeah, let's see, okay. Hello everyone, my name is Dean Gilton, founder and creator of the Phantom Zone Paranormal channel that you're on now, and Phantom AF Studios as well. And also the founder of Southern Expedition Paranormal. Yes, I know, right? Well, anyway though, we're discussing a book review here. Yes, a book review. Something that's been controversial for decades and decades over again. And somehow it kind of fit for where we're at today in a way, but not really. But it just depends on, of what you believe and what you interpret or misinterpret. A lot of things about this certain book, though, has been misguided or misled by the evangelicals or the Catholic Church, proclaiming that if you read this book you go straight to hell, which is not true, or any via versa with propaganda, stuff like that, though, that gives it a negative impact. But unfortunately, what the church or either evangelicals back then and some are today lied. So this book that we're going into a little bit, though, not much though, but like I said, there's still some controversial subjects in there, but not much, as is more like a relevancy, you might say. So this book is called The Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey, as you can see right here, and this right here is what it looks like in the back page. Anton LaVey has started at the Satanic Church from early on 60s, from the New Age era. He founded it then, all the way till his death in 97, but the church still continues with a close friend and follower to continue his work and legacy and make sure everything's aligned. Now, when I read this book, I was like, okay, first off, I thought, are you talking to me or to somebody else? At first I thought he was referencing things about me, but not really. I sort of took that first, so I kind of at first I said, okay, I'll put the book down and put it off to the side for a moment and come back and read again, because that's a little bit too much to process. But when I did come back and read it, it's not just justifying about me, but others throughout this world. Now, there's some text in here, let's say about, let's see here, if I find that page I was looking for. Yes. So he talked about sex, yes, about the matter of satanic sex. Alright, so the Catholic Church and evangelicals believe that all Satanists have these wild orgies right there at the altar. Well, actually, that is false. No, the Satanic Church does not have wild sex parties right there in front of the altar at their church. No, they do not. In fact, though, that is to them that's sacrilegious of their temple, of their rite. If you want to practice into sexual acts, you might as well do that at home, not at the Satanic Church. That's what he was trying to tell you about. He did say that sex equivalency supposed to help with, of course, your magic skills and everything else. On the contrary, though, it just also it helps out with reproducing, true, and other things as well. But I'm not going to go into detail on that because technically, though, we all know. But unfortunately, though, what he's saying, that sex is always a good thing to have around. But apparently just can't do it inside there. Can't do it at the church. No. That's like a forbidden rule. Let's see here. Now, he also, saying this, though. Now, since I got that part out of the wind, I'm going to put in this part of the wind. So I read in a quotation in his little thing, though, that the church, all the Catholics and evangelicals love Satan so much, yeah, because it's a fan favorite, because without Satan, they wouldn't be in business. It's true. Without Satan, they wouldn't be in business. So it was like a poke you in the stomach type feel, yeah. Now I will find another chapter here, though, where, I mean, you can read all this, though, and find the book. You can find this in any bookstore or anywhere. Now, I would tell you this, though. I'll pause for one. Now, there are 2 volumes that Anton had written. One was the Satanic Bible, yes. That was the first book he written. The second book he written, which I don't got, though, is the Satanic Rites, the Ritual Practices. Now, technically, though, when I look at the Ritual Practices, though, it is more likely his version, or kind of like the version of a Wiccan, though. Same thing with the altar, you got the god and the goddess, that sort of thing. But in this church, though, they don't believe in other forms of other type gods. Christian God, on the other hand, no. Any other aspects of old gods before, they believed that sort of thing was all created by man. In fact, he also pointed out that if God created us, then who created God? Now that's the age-old question, though. We've been saying that and debating that for so long, throughout so many centuries. Well, this is his example of what it could be. That we're the ones that created God, as we thought of creating a God, since we had no idea at that time who created us, so we invented this sort of entity, a source that cannot see, as in God. Now, that could be one of many theories, but other than that, though, from me, I do believe in a God. As me, I do believe in a God. Christian God and the Jewish God, they're both the same. But I don't believe in a Christian God. I know there is a higher power, a higher source, a higher mobility, one above us all, or any other god or goddesses alike in deity forms. This God I believe in, though, is called the Great Divine. The Great Divine has no gender or anything. It's just pure energy. Pure energy that evolves throughout this world. See where I'm getting at here? Alright. Moving on a little bit, though. Now, let me pull on the chapter that I was in for. Now, I want to know, since I was been reading this book now, it did say that there are, like, people with persuasion and everything else who has big egos. Yeah, he also warned about those who have big egos, who wants to make sure, telling us the people with big egos are the ones that have more control. Anton didn't have that much of a big ego. Now, he admits that he does have some ego, but he doesn't go all out into the egoism. Unlike other type religious format from your perspective of Christianity, from the Catholic Church to evangelicals. A lot of them have that power of egoism. Not all, but some. A lot of them know how to control that ego and formicate into something else. But other churches that are like not denominational, not like nominational, but denominational churches. Denominational churches can fall under the Christian Church, the Southern Baptist, the Church of Christ, etc., etc., etc. Anything formed, though, even beyond that format. But I'm not going to get all churchy on that one to go on that subject, but a lot of them, not all, a lot of them do have big egos, or depends on their hierarchs of the minister or the elders, or etc., people who might find ways to tell the pastor, hey, do this though, and do that though, like the pastor is their puppet, which in most cases not real. Some cases they're not, in some cases they are their puppet. Of more control, you might say. And there are those who like to spread fear and chaos and looms, all written into those types of non-denominational church lines. Let's see here. Well, we're going a little bit more in the subject here. Now, one thing that got me more, though, was the Black Mass. Now, the Black Mass is not what you think, though. Or what the Catholic Church or evangelicals are throwing at you, though. A black mass will sacrifice people. They will, like, drink blood of the young, etc. Actually, though, that's not true. That was fear propaganda brought onto the church because, number one, though, what Anton was teaching was telling more likely what really goes on in the ritual. Yeah, they have, the only thing they drink, though, is probably port wine. They have port wine, incense, yes. They do have an altar, of course, and statue or symbolic instruments to represent who they represent. Now, they did say some parts, so they do have someone who is in complete nude, depending on the altar, but that person in the nude is actually, though they're not sacrificing that person or anything like that. No, there's no sacrificing there. Apparently, though, what it is just a reenactment of what they do. It's more of a symbolic thing. But nothing killing, nobody gets killed or anything like that. No, nothing of the sort. So, that's what he was trying to reference, though. Now, the stories of, let's see, this is one that got me into this page here, though. This is page 100, second paragraph, and I'm going to read this to you, though. Now, let's see here. Let me make sure I got the right one, though, because sometimes the light blinds me sometimes, so I want to make sure. Now he says what, let me make sure this is right one. Okay, it is. The stories of unbaptized babies being stolen by Satanists from use in the Mass were not only effective propaganda measures, but also provided a constant source of revenue for the church, as in the church, the Catholic Church, or evangelical churches, in the form of baptism fees. No Christian mother would, upon hearing of these diabolical kidnappings, refrain from getting her child properly baptized post-haste. So apparently this is all propaganda that the Satanic Church, though, and realism do not do this sort of thing, though. That was all hyped and propaganda from the Catholic Church and possibly the evangelical churches as well. They just followed in their footsteps, you might say, on that gesture note. Another fact of man's nature was apparent in the fact that the writer or artist who lewd thoughts could exercise his most obscene credulity in the portrayal of the activities of heretics. The censor who views all pornography to that he will know what to warn others of is the modern equivalent of the medieval chronicles of the opposite deeds of the Satanists. And of course, and this is in like hyphens, and of course, their modern journalistic counterparts. Which means, a lot of the stuff is practically what he's referring to, is that what they're doing was falsifying the Satanic Church. Spreading out lies and all. It is believed that the most complete library of pornography in the world is owned by the Vatican. Well, they do have a secret library, and maybe, they probably do have it in there. And, like I said, he does throw in that controversial part into the chapter. And it goes on and so forth. Now, rather to tell about what goes on, is that it's more likely when you're reading the book of the Satanic Bible, there's no verses, no, but there are long sentence paragraphs. What he's referring to is more like a, like a thesis. What I read is like more likely a thesis in his thesis of autobiography, what goes on and what happens and what goes on in the church and that sort of thing of the Satanic Church. So basically, that's what more likely it is like a giant thesis when I'm reading it. It's more likely you're there questioning yourself and everything else. But the morality of it is that a lot of this stuff, it brings you into a point of a truth. Then it brings into the false narrative what the false can be. But there's always a true intention in there. Now, I'm still reading this book, though, and it's quite interesting to go. And I got that far off of the chapters yet, though, because on page 129, though, is the Satanic Ritual. It shows parts of what they do and everything else. It tells about the 13 steps. It tells about the notes which are to be observed before beginning ritual. It depends on what ritual, like the tools, like a Wiccan does, either, or any other Wiccan, or any type of Catholic church, or blah blah, or etc. Always have their tools, their instruments, and what they do. It's just like a step-by-step thing. Invocation, stuff like that. Yeah, you do get your invocation in there, and infernal names, such as such and such. I ain't gonna go into that portion, because I haven't fully gone into or read it. Now, it is interesting to read this. Yes, it's interesting, because curiosity, like I said, though, as for me, as a paranormal researcher and a researcher to the cult, I read things that could help and not help. This book here is just interesting to let me know what goes on. What was I going to say? Crossed my mind. Now, in the points of the book, though, in his partial sense, going back to this, there's no justification that there is some spiritual world or anything like that. Now, there is a spiritual world. He just couldn't prove it. But there is a spiritual world playing. He does know that and the fact is that he thinks and believes that there are no such thing as any other ghosts or demons or whatsoever. Well, I tell you this, there are entities that are out there. They are. It's just, he just had a different perspective, though, because he does the more like an atheist sense. And probably a little bit of a Christian atheist, you might say. But does it steer you away, though, from your beliefs and everything? For me, no. But to you, I don't know. That's for you to decide. Like I said, though, I thought at first that the book was actually talking about me, but apparently no, it's not just talking about me, it's talking about everyone else. So it's like, it leaves you questions, a lot of questions. It's easy to question the book. And it's okay to question it, I still question things. Sometimes I answer those things. A lot of times I know what's this and know what's that. But underlying it all, Anton LaVey was a unique person. He, of course, was a man ahead of his time when he founded the church. Yes, it was during the New Age era, and he was a man ahead of his time. Now, today, though, we could understand him. We could, possibly understand him, where everything kind of boils down to make sense. Now, another thing I read about this is about, sacrifices. No, not about. It says we don't sacrifice humans or anything like that. No. Now, the only thing they sacrifice is in a state of psychological, of a mental, in a mental type state, let's just say, for example, that someone that did you wrong, someone that hurt you over time. Now, we probably do this a lot of times, even though we're not all Satanists here, though, but that I've seen words can carry more of a strong sense. Now, think of that person many times over, or persons, or just that one person, in your mind, and make a curse. Make this curse in a mental, psychological type format. Make this curse to this person. Now, words do carry and they're strong. Believe me, they are. Curses, I think everyone does a curse every once in a while, though. Hell, there's so many people from past area, like from my part, that I kind of inside head thought, don't go out there, don't say it out loud, just in your head and mind. But this one, just say, those words as a curse, though, if that person did you wrong, did you harm to you, just say what you want to say in your thoughts, though, and use that as your sacrifice. Now, of course, that person will still be alive. Yes, that person will be alive. But it's just that anger you want to draw out, and controlling that anger, you just simply use that anger, use that emotion that you build up, release the anger in a mental state. Not a physical state, but a mental state. That's what he's trying to refer to. Because murdering or killing anybody is just, no, they don't precipitate in that. Basically, it's just like curses or anything else that could happen. But I respect this guy. I respect what he's saying. Of course, everyone who writes a book or anything like that, I respect people. I respect their religion. I do. As plus, Hannah, I respect the Catholic Church, and also I respect any type of religion format, no matter what. Even though I respect my own religion purpose as well. That's how things work, and that's how things should be. But like I said, this guy, I mean, he was more likely head to toe with vice versa with the church at the time. Now, over time, though, he went on during talk show appearances. He even went on doing debates with like Christian philosophers as well, especially with the Catholic and Christian church alike. I like to draw out these debates because like a back and forth, and both sides, like I said, would take notes. He also was on Oprah. Yes, the man was on Oprah. Anton LaVey, he was also an organ grinder. He had many organs. He also he was a carny. He was organ grinding music for carnivals. Let's see here. He was also, I could say it. He was a person who helped out, though, in filming a movie starring Ernest Borgnine, William Shatner, and many others in it, though. Really good actors and actresses, I remember. I just can't pronounce them all right. What was his name, though? Anyway, the movie was called Devil's Reign. Yeah, Devil's Reign. It's a good movie. And Anton made an appearance in there. Yes, he made an appearance as one of the worshippers. He was there playing his organ. And also he was right beside Ernest Borgnine. Now, I could tell, he helped out with the movie on the set, though, give them what's this and what's that, what they can actually use and what they cannot actually use as minor gesture. But Ernest, oh man, you can tell on his face, you can tell the look on his face that he was having fun with this movie, and I can tell you was having fun with it. I would too. Because Ernest, his character, though, he played the main villain in it. William Shatner, he's supposed to be the hero, we thought, though. It turns out to be his brother, and the character's brother is actually the hero. But it's actually about uplifting a curse that a family fell curse to since the Salem witch trials. But it's a good movie, and you need to watch. If you haven't watched it, let's hear it. The Satan's Reign, or the Reign of Satan, will be on Tubi. If it's still there, it'll still be on Tubi. Now that I got that out of the way, maybe we can actually calm ourselves and avert ourselves more. Like I said, the Satanic Church has their thing. We all have our things. At least that tells you out there and out clear, though, what they actually do. I might go into what these rituals are. A lot of them, though, as you go into, will have different events, different calendar events as well. But, that's all I want to say. And you guys have a good day. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.